you see. Can't be nobody else, a goddess that's me. What you see is what you get. You ain't seen nothing yet. Guarantee sure bet.
Hey, hey, Powerhouse. Welcome back to More with V, Unleash Your Inner Badass. I'm your host, V, life doula, bonus mom, intuitive guide, and your permission slip to build wealth, purpose, and legacy without the constant grind. Today, we're talking about legacy wealth without burnout. Because here's the truth. Hustle culture has convinced us that if we're not constantly doing, we don't deserve to receive. But legacy wealth, that's not built in exhaustion. It's built in alignment, rest, and intention. Hustle culture sells us the lie that more doing equal more deserving. Constant grind, no rest, success measured only by output, money at the expense of health, relationships, or joy. So let's take a reflective pause right here and ask ourselves, where in your life have you mistaken exhaustion for success? Straight talk, wealth without wellness doesn't last. It leaves you resentful, sick, disconnected, and that's not legacy. That's survival with a fancier package. So we're just leaving survival mode and dressing it up and hustling and burning ourselves out and sacrificing ourselves, self-deprecating. No more of that. So I remember where I can think back to a time when I was in Costa Rica and I had a fall and hurt my knee and became incapacitated. It came at a time when I was managing the leaders of the community I was a part of. I was creating and implementing a program that was going on there. I was fielding meetings for my mentor, handling what I could, and only passing things on when necessary. I was doing my own classes and, of course, living life. And I and another member of the team realized we were just getting to a point where we weren't nurturing ourselves and nourishing ourselves effectively. There was this amazing, beautiful pool that we walked by every day and just stared at it. I wish we could get in it. And then, we were getting minimal rest and not really taking time for ourselves. Well, then came the accident. And basically, long story short, I visited a waterfall, so beautiful, and I fell and tore my ACL. And I was down for 6 weeks exactly. And I realized that one of the reasons it occurred is because I wasn't taking the time that I needed. And the universe has a way of sitting you down when you won't do it on your own. So it was rooted in the shadow that I could only rest when I'm sick, hurt, or dead. And I realized success is not doing all the things. Self-sacrifice by putting others' needs or vision first is not having the balance that we're needing. It's more about having balance, moving, and maintaining what's aligned for me. And health is also a part of wealth. So let's redefine what legacy wealth really is. It's sustainable systems, not the constant grind that we've been domesticated into and that we're supposed to work. And, I've been working since I was 13, which that was when I was legally able to work. So I've been working since then. Then we're supposed to work all of our lives until we get to 65. And now, like 67, 68, they keep changing the bar, right? And we're supposed to work and then we get to retire at this seasoned age of 65, and you hope you've got like 20 good years left so you can actually live your life. But we're not living. So, it's legacy wealth is about systems that support you when you're resting, not only when you're hustling, As I said before, I am a multiple streams of income girly, and I'm all for passive streams of income. And what that means is that you set it and forget it. So I'm all for that. So if we can not only create systems, but also create money-making opportunities that support us when we're resting and vacationing, then we don't need to hustle. So aligned investments. So time, money, and energy should flow into what feels nourishing, not draining, and built with, not for. So I want to build generational wealth, legacy wealth for my family. And it isn't just about leaving something to my family, it's about building something with them. So especially if you have family members that have shared values, shared dreams, and shared systems. Like, I do music, but I have an incredibly talented brother who, he could be a fashion designer, and I want him to make me things. So who am I going to call? I'm going to call my brother. And, my dad is an amazing photographer. Who am I going to call if I need some pictures? Calling my dad. So not only are we building it, I call it front of house, right? Not only am I out there, but I'm also building it with my family. I'm taking them with me if they choose to go. And that may be another thing. We can't take everybody with us. And two, everybody has a choice about whether they want to build with you or not. So let's take a moment of reflection. Let's ask ourselves, what am I building that will outlive me? Is it a business, a set of values, a sense of community, a healed family system? Yeah, nothing's too big or too small, because the healing that we're doing, a lot of us are the black sheeps of our family, and we're the black sheep because we came to be the light in our family. They just didn't realize it. And maybe they did. I think sometimes they see our light and they get scared. They're like, oh my gosh, because it wasn't safe for them to be them. So they get scared seeing us being all the things. So, we are also came to do the healing for our family. And it doesn't mean, sometimes a lot of times people say, oh, this is what you came to do now. You came to be the generational curse breaker. Well, it doesn't mean you have to break all the curses. I thought that at one time. I was like, oh my gosh. And it got so heavy because it was like, oh God, there's so many curses. There's so many things to break. But you came to start it. You came to start the healing because you heal 7 generations forward and 7 generations back. So thinking about a time where I chose collaboration to create myself more joy and sustainability than doing it all alone. So I'll give you a couple examples. For my business, I have multiple projects. Like I said, I'm a multiple income stream girly. And I have multiple projects. I've got multiple businesses that I'm stewarding. And I was doing all the admin things. I was doing back of the house things. I was doing front of the house. I'm doing the classes. I'm doing the coaching. But I'm also setting up all the systems and doing all the things. And I quickly realized I just didn't want to. I didn't want to keep up with all the things because it was taking the joy away from me and the fun out of the things that I'm doing in the front of the house, the things that I love to do. I love doing stuff like this. I love speaking. I love doing my music. I love all of that. But when I'm doing all the things, it takes the joy out of it. So what did I do? I hired me an assistant. Yes. So I have me a virtual assistant and it is fantastic. And we're still working it all out, but it's just amazing that I can be like, oh, I don't have to worry about this. I can worry about the things that are important to me. I have you met Keisha, my sister, friend, accountability partner. And she was like, I do the editing for the podcast. And she was like, oh, you could pass it off. But honestly, I really enjoy it. And people, I don't trust anybody to edit it the way that I want it because I want minimal editing. I want minimal interference, just enough to make it great, but not because I want you guys to see the real raw, like every day. I'm not any different than you. I'm on this journey. I still process things. I still have my moments. And so, yeah, that's why I don't like to have a lot of editing for the podcast. And all the other stuff, like I have like a store and a website and those kind of things. Thank you, Maureen. She does all the things. So on a personal note, recently, like I said, I'm just like you. I've been having a tough time with my energies and the transitions my body is experiencing. And I was running on fumes and exhausted. And I noticed for a couple days in a row, in my house, that the kitchen was clean and the dishes were done. And I think on day 2, it might have been day 3, it just dawned on me that my partner was assisting me, because we had had a conversation. Every day we check in with each other about each other's day. How's your day? How are you feeling? What's going on? And I just expressed where I was, how I was feeling, that I was having a tough time. My energy felt really exhausted. And I use a lot of brain power because I'm talking to people and coaching people and mediating. And so there's lots of things, lots of moving parts. So, but he didn't say a word. And though he's tired from working himself, he still took the time to make sure I had help and was assisted, which provided me with the support I didn't even know that I needed, because I was just going through the motions of doing all the things because it has to get done. The kids have to, have their baths. They have to eat. Like, adults, we can fend for ourselves. We can eat, cereal. We can eat, cookies, whatever we want to eat. But kids, you have to make sure that they eat. So there's certain things that have to get done. It doesn't matter how you're feeling or what's going on with you. And at the same time, it does matter how you're feeling, what's going on with you. And when you have a support system and a partner which supports you in that way and can assist you, and it doesn't have to be, it's like the crown straightening. It's like, when you see a sister and something's going on, you can straighten that crown. You don't even have to say a word. You don't have to say a word to them, and you don't have to say the word to anyone else. And a partner can be the same for you in your personal life. So this provided me with the support I didn't even know I needed. I hadn't asked for it, and yet my partner heard in the recap of our days that there was a space that he could fill, and it didn't need to be communicated. And he so often reminds me regularly that if people want to, they will. So legacy isn't built in one big move. It's in the daily practices. And I like to say, don't set goals. And I know people are like, don't set goals. Well, don't set goals, set habits, set an intention, have a vision. Like, I have a vision for my business. I have a vision for my music. So I hold the vision, and this is my intention. And how I get to that intention and to fruition is taking inspired action. So inspiration turns into inspired action, but it shows up in the daily habits. So here's a few daily practices that you can do. Schedule white space. So rest is not a luxury. It is definitely a strategy. And like I mentioned before, I was taught that you only rested when you were sick, hurt, or dead. And a lot of us operate like that. We had 2-3 jobs. We didn't have time to, we didn't have time to be sick. Another way is family money talks. They're age-appropriate conversations about values, goals, and decisions. Wealth is a family culture, not just numbers in an account. And last but not least, you can journal on your values before you journal on your income goals. So you can ask yourself, what values do I want this money to serve? And what do I want this money to amplify? So let's take a pause right here for reflection. If I slowed down and made decisions from rest, not rush, how would my legacy look different? So you can make one small shift in your daily practices. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's setting intentions for each segment of your day. Or maybe it's just simply boundary setting. But what shifted my entire approach to building wealth? It's something so simple. It's something I've talked about many, many times here. And now I finally have it ready. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. I was like, let me get my receipts ready. I started receipt waving like a helicopter. And that has shifted me so much. And because it just shows me my abundance. And yeah, it's my weekly groceries. But I was able to buy all of these things on this receipt. So celebrating that. Another small shift, naps. or resting. So I would just take breaks in my day where if I'm feeling that my energy was low, I'll take a nap. And I don't necessarily set an alarm unless there's, something that I have to do, like pick up the kids from the bus stop or something like that. But I just allow myself to rest, and as long as I need to. And I wake up so much more refreshed and rejuvenated. And yeah, it's like restarting my day all over again. But sometimes that's what's needed. Sometimes I don't need a full nap. Sometimes I just need a rest. So I will just sit and veg out. And whether I'm vegging out to music or something on YouTube or scrolling or just sitting with my breath, sitting outside, enjoying nature, like something that's really going to allow me to rest and reset and recalibrate. And that also brings me to savoring the silences. When I really started appreciating moments of silence, like, you sometimes don't realize how loud the world is. Even in your house, like there's always, I can hear electronics humming, refrigerators, things going on. Like I can hear all of it. I can feel all of the vibration. But at night, it's so much more quiet. Most of the world is sleeping, and you just get to savor in the silence. There's not even many animals moving. It's such a beautiful experience. So sometimes like I'm home alone and I won't have anything on. I'm just really working and like absorbing the silence. That has really assisted me in really enhancing my ability to slow down and really just get in alignment. So, having that white space. And one last thing that I shifted, and these were not all at one time, they came gradually and there's no necessary order to them. But I began to sit down in those silences, reflecting on what my world showed me today. So if I encountered a lot of assholes, that means I've been an asshole. But if I encountered a lot of beauty and love, and I'm talking about in my microcosm, like the world at large we know is going through some things. So there's gonna be, I've gotten to the point where I have space to do that. I can really look into the world. What is the world at large showing me is still in me that needs to be healed, looked at, loved, alchemized. So, but until you get to that point, you are just really focused on your cookie cutter part of the world. And look at what it's showing you. What are you encountering throughout the day? Is your life full of miracles, abundance, love? Or is it full of a lot of things you're not really liking or aligning with? You get to choose. You get to shift that. So beautiful souls, legacy wealth is not built in burnout. It's built in love, alignment, and intention. Every time you choose rest over rush, vision over hustle, values over vanity metrics, you're building something that outlives you. And yes, the metrics are good. They serve their purpose. They can show you what is working, not working. It can give you a glimpse into what you're needing to do, your next moves. How much weight are we wanting to put in there? If this spoke to you, I'd love to see you inside the Dream Builders Hub, where wealth-minded souls are rewriting the rules of success and building generational prosperity without burnout. So take a screenshot, share this episode, and tag me at More with V. Tell me, what are you building that will outlive you? And remember, the legacy isn't just in the numbers, it's in the love you leave behind. Thank you for watching. Special thanks produced by Deshaun J. Moore. Music, I'm Coming Out by Anu at Anu Guru. Thank you to all my listeners. Follow me on social media at More with V. Like and subscribe.